Have the courage to win or lose. As lawyers, we need to redevelop the understanding that we have a courage to stand up and fight, and if we win, good, and if we lose, good too, because we were able to put forward our position in a righteous cause. So once resolved to fight, be prepared and willing to win or lose. Both are valuable experiences. Winning gives you confidence in the trust of lawyers and new clients. Losing, every lawyer in here, if I asked for hands, would tell you that you remember your losses more than you do your victories, and you learn from your losses more than you do from your victories. Because when you win, you say, well, I should have. But when you lose, you're always questioning yourself, and you're always instructing yourself with regard to it. So I remember my losses more than I remember my wins. And the difference between winning and losing is fortuitous, haphazard, and factors beyond our control. And jurors are voting on historical facts, not which the lawyer is better. You know, I can't tell you, sitting on the bench for 10 years, trying 250 some odd cases, during that jury trials, during that period of time, I saw what I would consider to be C lawyers win cases invariably. And the reason is that they were able to convince that jury that they were telling the truth, and they believed in the righteousness of the cause. Now, they may have not been the most verbal person there. They may have not been the most astute person with regard to the law, but they believed in their client, and they were able to invest their conviction in the decision of that jury. There's a great old story in my hometown. There's this fumbling lawyer that the lawyers just couldn't stand, and he'd sit up there and he'd just mumble and he'd do things, and he'd just, you know, it's just forever, and it just took forever, and we'd all get impatient. And he was in a jury trial, and he was up there mumbling around and doing this stuff and all of this, and he dropped his papers on the floor, and 2 drawers got out of the box to hand it to him. Okay, the case was settled because he was able to invest that jury with the sincerity of his position. Whoops, I did something wrong here. Have the courage. The key is not winning or losing per se, but the willingness to do both. There's a great book out. It's called Almost a Miracle. It's about the American Revolution. I recommend it highly. George Washington had the heart of a warrior and the instincts of a gambler. And I'll tell you, I think a good lawyer has the heart of a warrior and the instincts of a gambler. The satisfaction comes not in the victory or the loss. The satisfaction comes in that you gave your all. Reputation. Now, law students, I'm going to address it to you. I've been out of school for 40 years. Law school, I graduated. You had to request to graduate from law school back in my days. I don't know if y'all have to do that. Well, I got licensed, and I kept on forgetting to request to graduate. So I really got out in 68, but my ticket says 69 because I kept on forgetting to request to graduate. But the years that I was in law school, the reputation that I developed in law school, the reputation of the others that I observed in law school is still the same reputation I have of those people now. And so your reputation has started now. If you're a third-year law student, your reputation is set with regard to your classmates with regard to that. So how do you preserve your reputation? Y'all have always heard this, and I believe it truly, truly with the bottom of my heart that really all a lawyer has is his reputation. You know, Fredo, Alberto Gonzalez, who's a great friend of mine. I appointed Alberto Gonzalez to the State Bar Board of Directors Minority Bar. I first met Alberto when he was head of the Republican Hispanic Bar Association in Houston, Texas. He was a young lawyer with me. And I appointed him I dedicated my year to the year of inclusion, and I appointed more minorities, more women than had ever been appointed to the bar before, and I think since then. And Alberto Gonzalez was one of them, a fine man. But now, the reputation that we win or lose because we allow other issues to subsume our personalities or other issues to subsume our disposition or our decisions will affect us for the rest of our lives. Reputation. Take on an opposing counsel whose stature can enhance your own. Just like tennis, play up, don't play down. That's a really good statement for young lawyers. When you're out there, play up, don't play down. If you've got a case, you think it's a righteous case, everybody's telling you, well, you know, he's on the other side of this thing. Got him money, he's board certified, and he's done all this. Your attitude should be, well, that's great because I'm going to go to trial with him. And I will tell you that even in a silent forest, a big tree will fall. Even in a silent forest, a big tree will fall. So like tennis, always play up and not play down. Others will applaud the contest and salute the challenge, and as Lee Atwater said, David is still getting good PR for beating Goliath. And you can earn a reputation real quick by beating a Goliath. So even when losing, you're building up your reputation. Winning, you will be remembered as David. Fairly or unfairly, your friends and your bosses declare your character. Fairly or unfairly, your friends and your bosses declare your character. Talking about young lawyers. Be very careful about your first job. Be extremely careful. Do as much research about your employer as they're doing about you, and frankly, more research than they're doing about you. Because if you lie with dogs, you're going to pick up fleas, and if you sing in the choir, they'll think you're holy. And that's very true, because those that you run with are going to determine your reputation. Associate yourself with ethical lawyers who value ethical principles along with financial and other success, and research your prospective employers as much as they research you. Represent clients who have ethical representation. I've turned down many a client. I know all you lawyers have too. Number one, your case is won or lost the day you sign them up. That's on the plaintiff's side. It's won or lost when the day you assume the defense. It's won or lost if you don't like that client, that jury isn't either. And if I don't like my client, I'm not going to represent them. And that's one of the great things about civil trial practice, when I practice when it only has a VS in it, is that I can pick my clients. They're not appointed, and I'm not assigned, and I don't have to represent people I don't like. Fair enough? And if I don't like them, I know other people won't like them, and I know that the jury won't accept what they say. So your case is won or lost when you sign your clients up or when you accept the case. And unethical clients, just like that bumbling lawyer who dropped his papers, are pegged by jurors. They can read through it every time. They saw the sincerity of that guy, and they will read through your client in a heartbeat. I don't care how much you try to put lipstick on that pig, it will always be a pig. So when in doubt, let it out. Now, I want to tell you, that's what I did, didn't I? When I found myself in a bad situation, having done something I shouldn't have done, a literal felony in a court, I finally figured out, when in doubt, let it out. If you have done something wrong, don't sit on it. Confession is easier than seeking forgiveness, and protect your reputation. If somebody's spreading a falsehood about it, call them. You hear some lawyers talking about you and saying something that you know is not right, call them on the phone and say, wait a minute, I understand you're saying this. I've done it before, and I guarantee you 9 out of 10 they'll say, well, I just heard that. And I said, well, if you hear it again, give me a call, because I want to call them. And they'll back off. Now, knowledge comes from hard work, and preparation, preparation, and preparation. It's kind of like in real estate. They say location, location, location. In law practice, preparation, preparation, preparation. Know more about your case than anybody else, especially opposing counsel. Act ethically even when nobody else is looking. This billing concept, discovery, if it doesn't pass the smell test, don't do it. I had a mentor when I started out. He was subsequently a district judge, now still lives in Palestine. When I would go to him with issues of ethics, he would say, Jim, does it pass the smell test? I said, no, it really doesn't. Don't do it. That's the real ultimate issue. Does it pass the smell test? If you're trying to examine whether or not something's right or wrong, does it pass the smell test? If it doesn't pass it, it ain't right.